So finally, after 42 days, the US government shutdown is over. Bro, they actually made history because it was the longest shutdown ever in the US's history. But it's not really good history because this shutdown affected a lot of people negatively. For over a month, many government offices and services were closed or not even working normally because of this shutdown. So in this video, I'll tell you what is the government shutdown, why the government shutdown happened this year, and the problems that the government shutdown caused. And most importantly, how the shutdown finally and my friend, if you're in America, let me know if you got affected personally by the shutdown, because there is nothing like real life examples. You know what I mean? And anyway, let's get started. So a government shutdown is what happens when the Congress, who are the people who make decisions about money, can't agree on a budget. Basically, they can't agree how to spend their money to run the country. Like, it doesn't mean that they don't have enough money. Like, they have enough money. It just means that they just can't agree on it. And if a new funding law isn't passed in time, the government can't spend any money, and many parts of the government have to stop or reduce their work. But before I tell you how people got affected and how the services stopped, I need to first tell you why and how this shutdown even happened this year. So this year, there was a law called Affordable Care Act, and that law helps many Americans pay for their healthcare. And as a part of this law, it provides subsidies, which is like financial help or discounts, so that health insurance is not too expensive for people. Okay, we get it. So it's a law that helps people get cheaper health insurance, okay? But the issue is, those subsidies were gonna expire at the end of 2025. So Democrats wanted to extend those healthcare subsidies as a part of the budget because, like, they did not want people's insurance to cost more. But Republicans had a problem with that law, and they did not want to include that extension in the funding of the bill. And even Trump did not want it. He even said that those subsidies are a bad deal, and he said that they're a disaster for American people because insurance companies would basically get a lot of money. And apparently Trump wanted to change the system by giving the money directly to the people to buy insurance themselves. Like, I don't know if that's a good idea, because we know how scummy and horrible some insurance companies are in the US, so I don't know if that would have worked. Anyway, Democrats and Republicans weren't able to agree on the healthcare funding thing, and because of this argument, Congress missed the deadline. And that was back on October 1st, and that's when the shutdown happened. Like, seriously, people get punished for missing deadlines, but surprisingly, politicians didn't, even though it affected so many people. But how were the people actually affected? So first, it affected federal workers, because hundreds of thousands of government employees were told not to come to work. And this included workers who process things like passports, or people who run parks, and many other jobs. So during that time, they weren't getting paid. But at the same time, there were other workers who were deemed as essential workers who had to work, like, for example, air traffic controllers who manage airplane safety, or border patrol agents, and so on. You know what I mean. So all those people had to work, right? But they didn't even get paid for it. So for over a month, like for 42 days or so, they were working for free. But usually when the government shutdown ends, all employees get paid for all the time that they didn't get paid for. But still, during those 42 days, all those people had to work without getting paid. But also, this shutdown affected people who didn't even work at the government. Like, during this shutdown, for example, traveling was a mess because there were like staffing issues, and that caused a lot of flight delays and cancellations across the country. Like, thousands of flights got canceled and thousands of flights got delayed. And airports like Chicago O'Hare and Atlanta had hundreds of canceled flights every single day. Bro, it was so bad that Trump himself had to tell air traffic controllers to get back to work now. Like, even though from the controllers' point of view, they were being asked to work without pay. Even the head of Air Traffic Controllers Union said that this is unfair, and he said that those controllers endured the longest shutdown in American history and still kept showing up to work. But those people deserve to be paid, not to be used as political pawns or whatever the politicians do. But you might be telling me, Omar, I didn't even travel. I don't even travel that much. Like, I didn't get affected. But I'm telling you, bro, like, this is just an example. There were a lot of stuff that were affected because of this shutdown. For example, there were also delays in programs that help people, like food aid for low-income mothers and children, and even funding for school lunches and other services. So yeah, a lot of stuff got affected by this shutdown. Like, bro, if I put a list of all the stuff that got affected, this video would be an hour. It was crazy. But finally, the people in the government decided to do their jobs and they reached a deal. So they came back to the table and they were like, okay, let's negotiate to end the shutdown. And they finally agreed on something. But problem is, their agreement was temporary. Yeah, like they only agreed to fund the government services and whatever until January 30th, 2026. And then they will have another vote again. But if they did not agree by January 30th, then guess what? Another government shutdown. Bro, imagine if that happened, like 2 shutdowns in less than a year. But okay, we don't know if that will happen yet, but it's still a possibility. Everything is possible in the US right now. So you get it, right, my friend? Like they're gonna be paying services in the US until January 30th. So that's like what, 2 months, I guess, from now. But they gave a full year budget, like, you know, a whole year budget for only 3 branches. And those 3 branches are Department of Agriculture and Food and Drug Administration, which basically helps farmers and handles food safety and checks food and medicine, right? The second department is the Military Construction Projects and Department of Veterans, which takes care of veterans and does construction for military. And lastly, this is important, my friend, the legislative branch, which is basically Congress themselves. Like, they agreed to pay themselves. Yeah, like they made a whole budget for a whole year for themselves to get paid. Like seriously, they should be paid last, not be put in the priority. Those guys are not even doing their jobs. Bro, like all the poor people are not getting paid, but the politicians are getting their whole budget? This is just messed up. But also remember the healthcare issue we talked about in the beginning of the video? You know, the issue that caused this whole disagreement? Well, they said that they will have a separate vote for it in December. I know it's a little confusing, but in other words, they just said, okay, like help us pass this funding now, and then next month we can have a vote on the health insurance aid like separately, but let us just pass this vote for now to get the government working again. So because of that, some Democrats weren't happy. Like they wanted that healthcare issue fixed immediately as a part of the deal, not just like a promised vote in the future. But the Democrats who voted to pass this bill said that they had to do what they had to do to end the shutdown. Like it's better than nothing. But what do you guys think? Like let me know your opinions. Is it better that they voted for this, or they should have waited a little bit? And also another part of the deal is that all the workers will get their payback. And even though Trump said that there are going to be some people who are going to get fired, a part of the deal said that no one will be fired, or at least no one will be fired until January 30th when this funding expires. But at least people are gonna get paid for now. But seriously, because of the politicians disagreeing, so many people in America got affected in everyday life. And even the deal that they did is temporary, so we don't even know if America will have another shutdown in 2 months or not. But one thing I know for certain is that this shutdown was never good for anyone in America, and it all happened because of the politicians' egos.